Hello, everyone. It's JoJo Empathic here. And in today's episode of Pretty Prophetess Podcast, I'd like to discuss two related but distinct phenomena that are often seen in the spiritual, self help, and wellness communities. It's called toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. While both concepts emphasize the idea of maintaining a positive mindset or focusing on personal growth, they can be harmful when they prevent individuals from fully processing or acknowledging their emotions and struggles. Let's break them down. Toxic positivity is the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state to the exclusion of all other emotions. It's the belief that one should always maintain a positive, chipper attitude, no matter the situation, which can diminish the value of negative emotions like sadness, anger, or grief. The core idea is that if you just stay positive and look on the bright side, everything will be okay. Dismissing or minimizing someone else's pain or struggles with phrases like, it could be worse, just think positive, good vibes only. Telling people to snap out of it or just choose happiness when they're facing real life tough circumstances, such as we are seeing now with us on the hinge of losing human rights. The pressure to maintain an idealized sense of joy or optimism, even when it doesn't align with one's true feelings, causes a significant amount of internal imbalance. It's harmful. It invalidates real emotions. Toxic positivity can make people feel like their natural emotions, the things they naturally want to say or feel called to say or do, are wrong, are shameful, or are inappropriate. When people are told to just get over it, stay positive, they may feel invalidated or misunderstood, which can worsen the feelings of isolation or anxiety. It creates a lot of shame around struggling or speaking up on struggles or difficult times. Rather than offering empathy or understanding, toxic positivity can create shame around expressing difficulty or negative emotions. It suggests that there is something wrong with you for feeling anything other than happiness or gratitude. It suppresses your feelings. When people are constantly told to suppress their negative feelings in favor of positive ones, it can lead to emotional suppression, which might eventually cause those feelings to manifest in unhealthy ways, like anxiety, depression, migraines, sinus issues, stomach imbalances, or physical symptoms. Using spiritual jargon to avoid engaging with personal trauma or difficult emotions, such as saying, I'm just letting go, I'm just surrendering to the universe. It can actually be avoiding confronting a painful issue and coming up with a solution to overcome it. Constantly trying to rise above negative emotions and situations without acknowledging the underlying pain, like avoiding therapy or practical solutions by relying solely on prayer, meditations, and affirmations, can be very toxic. Believing that challenging emotions or conflicts are lower vibrational and they should be avoided instead of going through the process and trusting the process, feeling into the process, feeling into the emotion, feeling into the hard, more difficult present space. It avoids healing. Spiritual bypassing prevents individuals from doing the deeper emotional work that's necessary for healing. Instead of addressing underlying psychological issues, it focuses on bypassing them with surface level spirituality. It perpetuates unprocessed trauma. Spiritual bypassing can make it more difficult for people to confront unresolved trauma, leading to a long-term inability to process or heal from past wounds. It also creates a false sense of peace. You can tell people seem a bit fake. when you have a positive aura or vibration, people feel it, whether you have a straight face on or you're giddy and happy. You can't fake positivity in genuine states. You just are. People that are masters of positivity can give a negative message while still being in a positive aura. So it creates this illusion of peace or resolution while the unresolved issues are still festering underneath. In reality, the emotional baggage hasn't been dealt with and continues to affect their well-being. Both toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing emphasize avoiding or suppressing difficult emotions in favor of idolizing state of happiness, peace, and transcendence. Both can create environments where it's not okay to feel anything other than good. It's an unhealthy coping mechanism. Both promoting this unhealthy coping strategy instead of acknowledging and processing feelings or seeking practical solutions that focus in on maintaining a non-facade of positivity or spiritual perfection. It's also a disconnection from reality. You'll notice that a lot of these individuals who are promoting this toxic positivity, they aren't accurately predicting. They're not in reality. Now, they also a lot of the time are connecting with a lot of different guides and spirits instead of the great spirit, their spirit. And this is misleading their accuracies and judgment as well. By insisting on positivity or spiritual transcendence, individuals may disconnect from the reality of the lived experience and the human need to feel and process all emotions, all circumstances, all times, whether it's high or low, whether it's light or dark. You're both. Some healthy alternatives would be to embrace the full spectrum of emotions. We as humans are here to emote, not saying that we should make reactions from emotions because we don't want to. We want to make our decisions from a state of neutrality and not emotions. However, we don't want to be someone that doesn't have feelings, that doesn't have emotions. That's what makes us so magical. It makes us feel for other people. It leads us into compassion. It leads us into grace. Being able to feel and embody this full spectrum of emotions and feelings is what true human divinity is about. Acknowledging that it's natural and healthy to feel a range of emotions, especially in a time where things are very dark. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, all of it allows yourself to process instead of immediately seeking to suppress or replace these emotions with something better. Self-compassion, practicing self-compassion and understanding that struggling is part of the human experience allows yourself to be vulnerable and imperfect. It allows you to sit with yourself. It allows you to integrate your shadow. It allows you an integration of spirituality and psychology. Combining spiritual practices grounded in psychological and emotional work can really help you to get through hard times without spiritual bypassing or being just in this high vibe, positive, positive, positive. You should focus more on authenticity and vulnerability, encouraging open conversations about mental health, grief, and emotional struggles without feeling the need to fix things or immediately just switch to positive thinking or spiritual platitudes or, just ignoring what's going on in general, just tuning out of it, just letting it all just explode in the background, while they take complete control while we just sit back and do nothing. We just are in this land, la la land. That's not good. That's not how change will come. Did the visualization work for the prophecy you were supposedly seeing? Did the positive thinking lead to a change? No. There is God at play. There is Creator at play. The hand of God has come in. So the past few months, we felt us powerful manifestors, we can't get things done. Things are being reversed. We've been in retrograde. There is a higher power at play. There's a bigger picture at play. So we don't need to ignore how we're feeling based and be in this state of just be optimistic, be positive, and we can visualize and change and everything through this, and it doesn't work. It misleads people. In short, while striving for positivity and spiritual growth is important, it's also essential to honor the difficult emotions that come with being human. True healing and growth happen when we allow ourselves to feel, reflect, and confront the full complexity of our emotional and psychological landscapes. I am disappointed personally to see so much toxic positivity and spiritual bypass within the lightwork communities during this time. It's leading to misguiding people and leading them on to believing realities that are not playing out. There is karma that will be played out in this land that your toxic positivity cannot change, and it shouldn't. Some things need to be played out. Karma needs to be played out. Karma needs to be cleared. We're on stolen land here. What makes you think that you have the power to just change someone else's positive karma being played out? We don't. What's interesting is I'm seeing these individuals come together in groups and continue to stand on inaccurate predictions without taking a step back to reflect on their approach. I want to express how genuine light work works. One, we don't need any tools for spiritual connection, and this is a very important message for anyone listening to know. There is a science behind tapping into your intuition, and it involves the right hemisphere of your brain, that brain state of intuitive creative flow. It involves the state and frequency of your heart, your emotions, your feelings. This leads to another myth that only certain people are gifted to connect. We need to stop that narrative so that we all can help ourselves at this time, so that everybody can feel empowered to connect with Source at any given time. Intuition is a skill that can be developed and should be developed for the number of benefits that intuitive connection provides. We do not need tarot cards, crystal balls, pendulums, dowsing rods, or any other tools other than discernment, our heart, and our brain. That is the truth. Do not be misled. The old paradigm clearly is not working. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to realign, and you have to be able to transcend past things that you once thought were truth. It's called ego death. Many using these tools, unfortunately, are misleading people with inaccurate predictions and timelines, mainly because if you need to use a tool, you're kind of bypassing the original innate connection and process, which is to identify the spirit you're connecting with before receiving the healing message. And we can always receive a timeline, always. Some sort of timeline. I couldn't graduate with my psychic mediumship certifications without proving I can accurately predict timeline. Spirits in the light, that's what they do. They come to guide us and they give us a timeline. They give us messages of warning and they give us a timeline. If you're not receiving that, you may not be connecting with the light. We need to understand that we do not need to meditate in order to hear from spirit. We need to be able to tap into higher consciousness whenever and wherever we need to connect with Source. Toxic positivity is taking away the audience from those who are speaking up at this difficult time on difficult truths. Spiritual bypassing dismisses and disregards the truth. The truth is the light. The truth is law. God is law. The light speaks on darkness. Genuine light workers are activists. And they're called to action at times when there is an immense amount of suffering. And we're in times like right now where we're on the hinge of losing human rights. If you were to come out and be this toxic positivity, you may not bring the change that's much needed. Not many can take this position or do it because many feel they don't want to give the truth because it's dark or hard to see. It's a small path of light workers who will lead this way, whose head becomes the tail, and the tail becomes the head. These toxic positivity channels get so much views. They have a large audience while giving out false hopes, while those who are battling the dark just to give truth, because darkness isn't attacking those that aren't saying the truth. They're not a threat. So we are sharing this truth that we feel called to share by spirit. And because of the toxic positivity, we're shamed, we're under-supported, and we're undervalued. Toxic positivity leads to shaming the truth seeker and the truth teller. I was told that I must be, quote, sad and miserable to think that Social Security could be stopped or tampered with under the Trump administration. That's just another Tuesday for me, giving what I'm called to share, to help prevent tragedy, to help heal someone, to help guide someone in truth set by God, to have that conversation. I've had collaborations ignored for being ideally too negative, not positive enough. I've faced physical, psychological, emotional, and legal abuse for standing up and speaking out on prophecy and truth I feel and felt called to share. All for saying the truth. The truth right now is hard to swallow. We are in turbulent times. Trying to maintain a positive attitude and outlook is beneficial, but we can't ignore the truth. Part of the human experience is to know and experience the highs and lows. Yes, we're entering a 5D new earth, but we will not see this in total capacity until another, I predict, 5 to 10 generations out. For example, I see 5D New Earth as a phase on Earth where we as humans can completely heal ourselves. Whether you lose an arm or a leg, you can grow it back. Me as a powerful healer, I'm not there yet. I can hope, that doesn't happen to my children, but for the generation to come, I hope that they are more powerful in healing themselves and others than I. If we take a look at the children's generation right now and notice that we are a bit off from this 5D New Earth truth of no duality. And even when we see the 5D New Earth, there still is man and woman. There still is a bit of duality here. Evolution takes time and it's slow progress. Although we are experiencing rapid change, if 5D New Earth were to be here tomorrow, it would take a total cleansing of people on Earth with only the light workers to survive, to support the new consciousness and grid it into place, making it a norm, with only us being able to actually carry it out with the support of one another. That's not going to happen, and it shouldn't, naturally. It will take time, but for now, we need to be real. We need to master the paradox of high and low vibrational energy. We need to focus on integration rather than toxic positivity. If you are trying to identify a genuine prophet during these times, you'll notice that they have a bit of a negative and a dark side. I was confused to why Spirit was having me go out and talk about me being a Scorpio rising last October, because I was about to come out with some dark messages. Not many can do that while still maintaining positivity. and a positive aura. It's the truth. It's a mastery. Genuine prophets are real, upfront. They tell it like it is, regardless of dark times or dark truths they are called to share. Messengers of death are a small percentage of psychics who are called by God or Spirit, the universe, to share the news of potential tragedy or death to come. Why? Because it's negotiable, and Spirit wants to preserve life. So Spirit will use messengers. The Holy Spirit will use a messenger to go in to different places to have conversations with different people, usually with the laws of the light 3 times before we have to pull back and give messages that are full of light, that are full of healing, that aren't direct. Because you never say someone's going to die, even if you see it. You never do that. That's fraudulent. Unless you are literally called to, you do not speak on death points. That is fraudulent reading. And Spirit will usually not tell you to say something out loud because of self-fulfilling prophecy. It can be illegal and it's immoral. You shouldn't do that. So many messengers are called to people and places to give messages of warning while holding a spiritual and emotional maturity, to be purely a channel of guidance, to prevent the tragedy if the person chooses to. Of course, this person's higher source led them there, the messenger, but their human them, without that consciousness or connection, has to take the message and put action forward to prevent the circumstance. Not everything we see needs to be said or shared. I agree. The messages of truth may be difficult, but can save lives, and a lot of times we give this without recognition or reward. Many times the messenger of death suffers when being called because they're ignored. They're shamed, they're called negative, they're called names, they're abused for speaking up. The light irritates people's demons, they get, psychologically abused, and then it's psychologically difficult to watch things play out that could be prevented. To psychologically endure the hardship of the reaction and the harm that people want to do to the truth seeker. They want to harm us for speaking the truth. They want to shame us. They want to rally together and come against us when we can help prevent really horrible things. It's hard. Genuine prophets tend to display healthy anger. I'll call it that. Now, I choose not to be angry. That's my choice. But I can think of a few examples of how we're all just human and how really great teachers and master healers give displays of healthy anger, justifiable anger. I love Iyanla Vanzant and her work. Have you ever seen her give truth to people? One of her first memes she was ever known for was, "Not on my watch." To me, she's one of the greatest coaches, authors, and mentors out there. I can also think of the story of Yeshua flipping tables out of healthy anger because he was calling out thieves. This is justifiable anger, and it's part of the spiritual mastery and human experience. It's esoteric. We need to normalize intuition as well as normalize that passionate people bring change by being their true selves in all capacity. Genuine teachers and healers do not suppress emotions and anger. We learn to work through it. We get better. We get more in control. We master the human experience. Genuine teachers say it how it is and do not sugarcoat or get into false lies through toxic positivity. You do not need to fake being happy or positive. The times we are in are unprecedented, and we are on the hinge of losing human rights for all people in America, disproportionately affecting people of color and influencing the rest of the world. Although watching the news right now may be difficult, I agree it's best not to doomsday scroll all day long, but I do believe you should be asking Spirit right now to lead you to what you need to know and what you need to see. Of course, asking, what do you need to do about it? How can you take action? And you should speak up. You should speak out on the truth, even if it's dark, and especially if you're called by Spirit. Understand, no one will understand that. No one will support that either. And that's the walk of a true prophet. Toxic positivity will mask the truth channel, and the medium will be in the midst of the storm, while the shamed truth teller leads those who will listen and discern the truth through a message of safety and to a place of safety. I've grown to see the good in both sides, though. Spiritual teachers, we are all on different phases and journeys of awakening, of ascension, of missions. The overly positive, although it may seem fake, will speak a language to those who need their messages of hope at that time, and I can appreciate that. The spiritual teachers on all ends of the spectrum, on someone on the other end of the spectrum, will also bring value because they'll speak a language for someone else to resonate with them at that divine time. So we're all of value. My point is to not take jabs at those that are speaking truth and claim that you're the bearer of positivity. My point is to focus on integration and truth rather than bypassing the truth with toxic positivity during times we are all in need to be aligned with reality the most instead of la la land, ignoring what's happening. We ignore because we feel powerless to not be able to make a change. Some negative and difficult events are meant for us to experience and witness. You have to trust that. We agreed to come to Earth at the specific time before we came to Earth and for a higher purpose. Don't ignore, don't shame, integrate. Thank you.